I'm Sadie.
And I'm Elena.
Let's talk about something that actually matters. Your vote, your voice,
And all the barriers that get in the way.
Welcome to Save the Polls! We are a student-run civic engagement organization based right here in Virginia. We are nonpartisan, and we are not here to tell you who to vote for. We're here to make sure you can.
Because there's misinformation everywhere. There are rules that nobody explains to you, and there are real barriers that keep you from the polls.
So, we made a podcast about it. I'm your president, Sadie Goldman.
And I'm your head of communications, Elena Gilio. Okay, today's topic is genuinely underrated.
So under-talked about. I feel like people have heard the name, but don't actually know what it does.
Right, so we're here to talk about the SAVE Act.
So, the SAVE Act. Full name, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act.
Which points for the acronym.
But what it actually does is require you to show documentary proof of citizenship every time you register to vote in a federal election.
And not like your driver's license. They mean a passport or certified birth certificate.
Yes, but here's the thing, that's already a law. Non-citizen voting has been a federal crime since 1996.
Utah did this massive review of over 2 million registered voters, and they found one instance of non-citizen registration. One.
1 out of 2 million?
And 0 instances of actual non-citizen voting. So the problem this bill claims to solve is not really happening at the scale they're implying.
And that matters because the bill creates very real consequences for millions of people who are already citizens.
So over 21 million Americans of voting age don't have easy access to the documents this bill requires. Roughly half of Americans don't even have a passport.
And a driver's license, which most people have, which you use for everything, doesn't count under this bill.
Which is so strange to me because you use your license to board a plane, to open a bank account, to do basically anything that requires proving who you are. But not this.
And then there's the name thing, which I think gets a little overlooked. Your birth certificate has the name you were born with. So if you get married and change your last name, those documents don't match anymore, and the bill requires them to match.
So millions of women would have to provide extra documentation just to register to vote, on top of the documents they already have to bring.
And we've already seen what happens when states try this. Kansas implemented a state-level proof of citizenship requirement, and before the law, non-citizen voter registration was 0.0002% of all registered voters.
That's basically nothing.
After the law, it blocked 31,000 eligible citizens from registering, 12% of all applicants. People who had every right to vote just couldn't.
And it was eventually struck down in court. Arizona did the same thing, same result. So this isn't theoretical. We have the data.
Okay, and I think this is the piece people really don't realize. It's not just about what documents you need, it completely changes how you register in the first place.
Right, because now you can register online, by mail, at the DMV. Virginia has really good options.
Under the SAVE Act, all of that basically ends, because you'd have to show up in person to an election office with all of your documents.
And only 6% of voters currently register in person at elections office. 6%.
So, the other 94% of people would have to completely change how they do this. And think about who that hits the hardest. College students who moved. People who work 9 to 5 and can't take off to go to a government office. People in rural areas where the election office is not exactly around the corner.
First-time voters, which is our whole audience.
Exactly. Young people are less likely to have passports, more likely to have recently moved, more likely to be doing this for their very first time. This bill lands the hardest on us.
And it's not just when you first register. Every time you update your registration, new address, name change, switching parties, you'd have to do the whole in-person documents again.
Every time.
Where does it actually stand right now? The SAVE Act passed the House, twice actually. Once in April 2025 and again in February 2026.
And then it went to the Senate, where it's needed 60 votes to get past a filibuster. Republicans have 53 seats, and it hasn't gone there. As of right now, it has stalled.
But stalled doesn't mean dead. Supporters have been pretty loud about continuing to push it, and there's talk of attaching pieces of it to other legislation.
So this is very much still a live issue.
And honestly, the reason this hits so close to home for us, specifically, is our voter registration drives.
We show up we set up a table, and we help people register on the spot. That model doesn't really work anymore under this bill because people need to have their passport or birth certificate on them to register to vote.
Nobody walks around with their birth certificate, and I sure don't walk around with my passport.
Nobody. And that kind of spontaneous registration has historically been really important for communities that already face loads of barriers. Black voters, young voters, rural voters. And the data from Kansas and Arizona showed those are exactly the people who continue to get blocked.
We want to be clear. We're not saying everyone who supports this bill is acting in bad faith. Some people genuinely think it makes elections more secure.
But the documented outcome tells a pretty clear story. These laws block more eligible citizens than non-citizens every single time they've been tried.
Go to vote.org right now and make sure you're registered at your current address.
And if you don't have a passport or a certified birth certificate, it's not a bad idea to start working on getting those. Not because this is law, it's not, but because having them is useful, and if this conversation continues, you'll be ahead of it.
Know your senators. This bill lives and dies in the Senate.
So, stay informed, stay registered, and make some noise.
The system responds to pressure. It always has.
We're Save the Polls. Share this with someone who needs it, and
let's save democracy.
Let's save democracy! Bye!